Welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and, of course, Game Plus. And we're brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. Well, that includes Jared Dumba, the Tulsa King. I've anointed you with a new nickname today. The Tulsa King. Do you like it?
Absolutely love it, Roddy. Love it.
I knew you would. Jared's one of my longest time friends. Played pro hockey with the Tulsa Oilers back in the day. And if there is time, we'll get to some of those stories. But you're here to talk NHL hockey as we air in Toronto, of course, anchored on Game Plus, and Vegas on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And before I jump into the things that you wanted to talk about, and you were nice enough to send me a list, I've done my top 5, bottom 5 teams in the NHL. And I'm going to ask you, not for your top 5, bottom 5, but who do you think is the number one team in the NHL right now?
I'm going to have to say Dallas, and not just because they haven't lost yet. When you watch the games, they've got that perfect mix, where they got a couple of younger guys, some older guys in the mix, and then they've got a big portion of their team that's kind of right in the prime of their career or entering the prime of their career. They've got Ottinger now. We'll see how he's been playing fantastic so far. But right now, I'd have to say Dallas. I'd say Edmonton is very, very close. I know a lot of people look at Skinner and say, "Oh, I want to," you need better goaltending. He only got you to the finals 2 years in a row and Game 7 one year. You need better goaltending. I'm not on
Trust
that train.
Me, I get it.
I like Skinner. Give him another year or two here. Now it looks like McDavid's given them 3 years here to try and win. But I'd have to say those would be the two best teams. Obviously, Florida, they haven't lost yet, and they're missing their arguably their top 2 players. You know what? A lot of people don't realize it, but that's going to come in huge. If those 2 guys come back in the second half of the year, they're going to be fresh come playoff time. That's going to bode well for their chances at another cup. But those are probably the top 3, in my opinion.
Terry in Calgary, Terry the lawyer, writes in, he says, Kulikov is now out 5 months after wrist surgery, another Panther. So thank you, Terry, for the update on that. Now to what you wanted to talk about, and you always love the young stars every year, whether they're rookies or like a guy like Matvei Michkov, who's not a rookie, but he's a young guy. Ivan Demidov in Montreal, you were pretty horny about his goal last night for the Habs. Oh,
man, that was unbelievable. That's something, you don't see rookies make those plays with that much confidence. That's the thing I love about the kid. And I wasn't the biggest Demidov bandwagon jumper. I was more of a Michkov guy. I just like how he gets down to business. Demidov's been impressing me. I'll always admit when I'm wrong. I didn't think he'd jump in and look as good as he has, especially with that kind of the fancier game you call it. Usually that doesn't translate as quickly, but man, that play last night, what a goal, and he's had some unbelievable assists. He's going to be very fun to watch. You're going to be really excited if you're the Habs, and if you're a team like Chicago, you might be a little bit upset that you missed out on the boat here. How nice would he look right now playing beside Connor Bedard or Frankie Nazar, who's had a hot start as well. So there's Demidov. But you got, like you mentioned, there's some great rookies. The other 2 guys I'm keeping my eye on for Rookie of the Year are St. Louis, Jimmy Snuggerud. The reason why, he's had a couple more years of seasoning. He's a rookie, but he's come in. He's a little bit older, a little bit stronger. He's time in the weight room, and he's got a good team around him. He's going to get not too good where he's not going to get lots of minutes, but he's surrounded by a really good team and a great coach. And then the other guy that I'm surprised we don't hear more about, but Minnesota Wild, Zeev Boyum. He's my pick for Rookie of the Year. He's already off. He's leading the rookies in points right now. He's got 5 assists through 4 games. Quarterbacking the power play. He was quarterbacking the power play in the playoffs last year. Now you add him, you add Kaprizov back. When Kaprizov was healthy last year, Minnesota was one of the top teams in the league. If you add a guy like Bouyem, who's just won everywhere he's gone, he's got a ton of talent. He's always very confident. You get to play that power play with Kaprizov and Boldy all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if he touches or even does better than what Lane Hudson did last year.
The viewers love the NHL talk. Ryan in upstate New York writes in. He says, speaking of young Russian players, check out Arseny Gritsuk of New Jersey, already making an impact on the Devils' third line. Scott in Vancouver says, no Barkov, no Kachuk, no Nozick, and now Kulikov. It will be tough for them to get to the finals again. By the way, my top 5 are Vegas 1, Carolina 2, Edmonton 3, Dallas 4, Colorado 5. And then my bottom 5 are Utah, Islanders, Chicago, San Jose, and Buffalo's the worst. And I wanted to spend a minute on the Sabres. You had that in your notes. I'm sure there's fans in Buffalo going, how come Montreal can turn it around so fast? How come Ottawa can do a rebuild and get back into the playoffs? How come we sit here slipping in our own crap for literally decades? And then you see what Jack Eichel's doing with Vegas, and you see what Sam Reinhart's doing with Buffalo, and your former players. Jared, what is the deal in Buffalo?
Well, I don't know. At some point, like you always go to the players first, then you go to the coaches. They've traded out all the players. They've traded everybody, all their big picks. They had Brandon Montour, they had Jack Eichel, they had Sam Reinhart, they had all these guys, and nobody wants to stay there. There's got to be something. Eventually, you start looking at the upper levels, and you start going, what's going on at the very, very top? Is there something that we don't know about? Like, how can it take that long? Because they've had a lot of great draft picks in there. They do a decent job of bringing them up. And then it seems like everybody wants to leave, and the team just can't get over that hump. So it's, to me, that's one of the biggest questions. Nobody seems to have the answer. What do you do? Do you tear it all down and rebuild again? They've been doing. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, or see if they can catch some fire. They always seem to catch fire for the last month and a half of the season. But what do they do? Does Tage Thompson want out? Do they end up trying to get a big package for a guy like that? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in Buffalo.
Yeah, well, we would all say ownership. Everybody says ownership. Yet they're owned by the same family that owns the Buffalo Bills, who are perennial AFC title contenders, maybe not Super Bowl contenders, but one of the better teams in the NFL. So that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but you mentioned Tage Thompson. I have the beautiful benefit of being able to watch NHL hockey here on a nightly basis in Sunrise and from time to time Tampa Bay. And the thing with those Sabres players, they're at a point now where they won't take a hit to make a play. They won't go in the corner, especially him, because they're like, why would I? We're going to lose anyways. Yeah. That happens. And that's what I fear for in Chicago with Bedard, to be honest. I know they're very excited in Chicago about the future, but you can't allow to happen there what's going on in Buffalo. And by the way, it's not, but it could with continued losing.
Yeah. Well, eventually you got so many good, when you got that many good young guys, it's in my opinion that sometimes you gotta find of his career and or a couple of those guys and trade away some of your youth for some of your future for a little right now, because somebody's got to lead these guys. If they got nobody leading them, they don't have a good veteran, 25, 26, 28-year-old veteran who's showing them what to do every day at the rink and teaching them how to think a little bit and leading the way on the ice. If you don't have those guys in the middle, it's tough for those guys to come up and figure it out on their own. It takes them a lot longer. And then you see, as you saw in Buffalo, guys just get sick of it and say, I'm out of here. Ryan O'Reilly, gone. Like we said, Montour, gone. Jack Eichel, gone. Reinhart, gone. It's those guys, they only have so long. There's an expiry date, and that's what I'm worried about with Tage Thompson for the Buffalo Sabres and their fans. He only got so much longer before he says, "Okay, just get me out of here. This is affecting my career. I need to go try and take care of my own self."
I just realized, I think, why you have the Dallas Stars number 1 overall. Is your cousin Matt playing there again? Is that a homer pick from you?
No. He's in Pittsburgh this year.
Okay, I can't keep track of where he's going. I just know that you were up there in Edmonton, right? Last year you watched Dallas, and I'm guessing you got treated real great, and all of a sudden you fall in love with the Stars. But that's not it, huh?
Yeah.
That's not it.
No. I like what they've been doing. I like what Neil's been doing for a while there. I like the addition of Rantanen. I think that gives them a whole new look with another superstar there. But they're quietly just one of the best teams, and I love Heiskanen. I love Ottinger. They've got so many good players that I really enjoy watching. Heiskanen maybe the most even though he's rated high, still one of the most underrated D in the league in my opinion. They've been to the finals so many times. Is this the year they do it? I don't know. They're going to have a shot, and you know that they're going to be making some moves at the deadline like they always do.
It always goes fast when we have the Tulsa King with us, our NHL analyst, Jared Dumba from the famous hockey-playing Dumba family. And you've got more notes you want to get to. But to be honest, the last time we were together, which was awesome, you were telling me some Tulsa stories. And I'm not sure if we air in Oklahoma or not. I have a feeling like we do. I know we air in Texas. Specifically Amarillo, which is up there close to Oklahoma. But you dropped some stats on me on Tulsa, Oklahoma that just blew my mind. You want to share them with our viewers?
Oh, just about how it was the richest city in North America. Are you talking about that one? Richest city in North America?
Yeah.
10 years in a row? Well, yeah, and I learned that when I first moved there. You're driving, and there's just these great big white fenced areas, and it's all like beautiful, big, massive homes. You can drive for 25, 35 minutes, and it looks like you're just looking at mansions the whole way. And the first time I drove through, I said, how is there this many rich people here? They said, oh, there's a lot of money in Tulsa. This was the richest city in North America. All the oil money I don't know what years it was, but back in the day, and that's stuck around. It's just a beautiful city. Nearly impossible to get around if you're new there. If anybody's ever been there, it's very easy to get lost and confused where you're going, just the way that they did the highways. I don't know who did those, but it's just a great city. The people are unbelievable. It's some great areas, the Jenks area and Broken Arrow, which are just kind of suburbs. Some of the nicest areas I've been to in the States. I actually lived in Broken Arrow.
And you said you haven't seen. You said you haven't seen the show Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone. Am I right on that?
I haven't. I'm not a TV guy. The only thing I watch is NHL hockey. The odd baseball game now that the Jays are in the finals.
Yeah, you're like Carlo Koliakovo. You're like Carlo Koliakovo. I asked him for his favorite Seinfeld episode. He's like, never watched it. I'm like, who hasn't watched Seinfeld? Carlo's like, all I ever watched is sports. But anyways, yeah, season 2 of Tulsa King now streaming on Paramount. So back on point. You wanted to talk about the Jets and Jonathan Toews. And so I picked a Winnipeg, Carolina Stanley Cup final, and it was met with crickets. And you've been following and friends with me long. Usually I'll make some bold Stanley Cup final prediction. It eventually comes right, but everybody loses their mind when I say it.
It's Jets, usually the next year.
I'm usually a year ahead. But the Jets Canes, it was just silence. Even Winnipeggers didn't know how to react to that. Yeah. I want it to happen. And people wrote in here and said it would be a very lowest viewed Stanley Cup final ever. And I don't care about that. You and I are going to be watching. Hockey fans are going to be watching. But do you think the Jets can get there?
Yeah. That would be incredible. I definitely think the Jets can get there. I think Hellebuck, if they pull his games back, maybe if they can get him to play, 50 to 55 games, get him a little more rest, where he's a little bit more fresh going in. They've got all the pieces that they need, obviously, up front with, Connor and Scheifele. Connor, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 to 7 players in the league. He's unbelievable to watch. But the thing that I like about the Jets this year, and a lot of people were thinking, well, Jonathan Toews hasn't played for a couple of years and he's going to be a step behind. It doesn't matter if he's a step behind. He's such an intelligent hockey player. All he has to do is play defense. Chips in is great, but you know that he's going to be bringing that confidence in the room, the confidence that got the Blackhawks 3 Stanley Cups. Now he's in that room. There's so many little things that people don't understand that need to be taken care of in a room, where if you can get a guy like that who's won, that's why the guys are so highly sought after that have won championships. And if you can get the captain, one of the best captains of all time, in that locker room, even if he played 2 shifts a game in the playoffs, which he won't, he's going to get better as the season progresses. I think by about February, March, I think you're going to see a completely different player than we're looking at today. And he's not bad today. But I think he's going to bring so much to that locker room, and just the confidence that he brings, the seriousness, the confidence, knows when to have fun and when to be serious. I think there's another team that usually they might make a little tweak or two at the deadline, but they don't need much. I think they've got enough to go from goaltending right on through their forwards.
I should, because I got just a couple minutes left here with our hockey analyst, Jared Dumba. If we can fit it in, Leafs and Golden Knights as we air in Toronto and Vegas. Let's start with the Golden Knights. I have them as the number one team in the NHL. Why? My criteria is, who would I least want to play in a Stanley Cup final or in a playoff series overall? Assuming everybody's healthy, Vegas would be the last team I want to play. What do you see out of them?
Oh, Vegas is unbelievable. The way that they're put together, and we all know McCrimmon, he just doesn't lose. He doesn't seem to have any off years. The way he's put that together, there's a lot of Western boys there. The addition of Eichel years ago, he's been nothing but great there. Now adding Mitch Marner, it's Marner. What was he, a point a game in the playoffs? And everybody was, obviously the Leafs fans and the media are all over guys all the time. Now Marner's going to be a little bit more free. He's not going to have that pressure on, and he's getting to play with Eichel. I mean, he was already playing with Matthews, which it's a little from column A, a little from column B. Which one's better? Who knows? But now he's getting to play with Eichel and the crew. They've got such a good deep team there. That would be another. I should have probably said though, Vegas. I don't know how I left them out in the top few teams in the league, but they're right there. They've got everything as well. Goaltending right on out. But now with Marner added to the forwards, like Marner, who do you want? You want Marner? You want Eichel? You want Stone? You want they've just got so many weapons that can beat you. And Marner hasn't even scored a goal yet. He's got 4 assists, I think. He's just easing into the system. Takes a while to get a new system, but when in that locker room and in that system, look out. He'll be touching 100 points again. Eichel will be over 100 points again. That's gonna be they got a great recipe to get another Stanley Cup going in Vegas. I think you and I should go if they make the finals.
Hey, the Golden Knights want us there. They have asked. They're like, "Are you coming out for some live shows?" I'm like, "It's not planned, but why the hell not?" I was on a show recently. Somebody said to me, "Yes, you did." Somebody said, "I'm worried about Aiden Hill in goal." I'm like, "Well, then you're the only one. They've already won a Stanley Cup with him." So, no. In a minute, we only got a minute. The Leafs. They look like the Harlem Globetrotters in the highlights I saw last night, smashing Nashville.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. I listen to every podcast you can possibly imagine. There's people loving them. There's people that think that they look terrible and slow. They've had a couple of slow periods. I've watched most of the games that they played so far. It's a different look. It's a completely different look, and that's what the fans called for. That's what they wanted. They wanted new DNA, as they say. Now they've got it. They're going to have more of a rugged team. It's not going to be quite as exciting as it was, even though they won a lot of one-goal games last year, too. There's some tight games. But you're going to have more of that rugged. Question is, are they going to go out and try and add another scoring forward to complement Matthews? Looks like Tavares and Nylander will always be together, and rightfully so. Nylander's had a bit of a slow start. He does that sometimes. That's just Willie. But he'll come around when the time is right and the lights are the brightest. But I don't mind what Toronto's got there. I think they're going to have good goaltending. They've got more of a rugged team, and they're going to have a shot.
To say goodbye. Good job, the Tulsa King. Thank you, Jared, the Tulsa King, our NHL analyst, Jared Dumba. Get used to him, everybody. We'll be right back here on Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus.